Hello, and welcome to another episode of Tales from the Broomstick with your hostess, Rebecca. I do apologize in the delay on getting this out. I actually recorded it twice, and I was going to edit it, and I just got sidetracked. Didn't get around to it. I don't make any money from this, so the only incentive that I'm doing this is because I need a hobby. Well, I need another hobby. I need a hole in the head. But instead of releasing it, I went on vacation. It wasn't much. It was a 3-day vacation. I went to Branson, Missouri, and spent 3 days in a hotel room. We went to the Hotel Grand Victorian. 100% recommend. They not only do they offer continental breakfast, they also offer tea and cookies every day between noon and 4. Between 2 and 4. But our hotel room had a jacuzzi in it. We specifically, I don't know, I came across it randomly. I always wanted to stay at the Hotel Grand Victorian. But it wasn't until I started looking at rooms that I realized that they offered a room with a jacuzzi in it. And I, once again, 10/10, recommend. By all means, next time you're in Branson, stay at the Hotel Grand Victorian. They're not plugging this or nothing. It's just that, and get the room with the jacuzzi in it. I spent 3 days in the jacuzzi. We even put bubbles in it one time and drank champagne and ate chocolate. It was wonderful. It was very nice. 3 days, no kids, no pets, nothing. Just me and my husband. Now you know why there was a delay. So back to the actual purpose of this podcast today. So I wanted to talk about winter, or as a matter of fact, ways to stay safe during winter, or to stay safe in traveling, period, if you must travel. When you ever see, there's a meme, there's a guy, and he's got like a gallon of milk and a loaf of bread, and he's screaming, "I seen a snowflake." Well, that's not, I mean, it's incredibly accurate, but it's not actually wrong. When they call for snow, especially here in Missouri, I live in Missouri, especially here in Missouri, and I live in rural Missouri. My nearest gas station is like 5 miles away. The nearest grocery store is, of course, it's all in the town proper, 5 miles away. When it snows, when they call for snow, it doesn't actually snow as often as they call for snow. But the thing is that in the event that it actually does snow, it is important to make sure that here in rural Missouri, you don't get snowed in, which is quite possible happens. The good news is I have a Sirius 4-wheel drive. It's not the greatest 4-wheel drive in the world, but it is 4-wheel drive, and I can get out in the snow. However, they don't plow the street. I live on a highway. They do not plow the highway in front of my house like they would the main highways. They don't plow it, or it's not taken care of as quickly as the main highways are, like 55, 44, 40. Those are all in St. Louis. 270, those all in St. Louis, and they plow those. They salt them, brine them, plow them. They're always the first ones to take care of, especially like 44, is because lots of trucks go down it. Well, trucks do go down my highway. There's a plant not far away, and all these trucks go to this plant, pick up loads, and drive off. Well, we had a big snowstorm about 2 weeks ago, and then we had another snowstorm a week later. And because I have a 4-wheel drive, I was not snowed in. I was able to get out and go in the snow. And especially in the event of emergency, some people were without power. Like, I have a friend that lives 25 miles away from me. Her entire town lost power for 3 days. So my house is entirely electrical. Okay, I have no gas. But if I lost power, I would lose heat entirely. So we have a backup generator, and we have what's called a pellet stove. The pellet stove is electrical. So basically, in order to heat the house during the winter, I would have to have the generator going and the pellet stove going, and I would need gas for the generator. I really should do that. I should go get a gallon of gas just for the generator. I think it holds 5.5 gallons. When they call for snow, by all means, first thing you need to do, put gas in your car. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. Now, the reason I say this is that, say you have a generator and you can't get out and you need gas, you can still siphon it from your gas tank, in the car. But if you have to work in the snow, or I hate to use the term essential, because you were only essential during the pandemic and the ones that ended. Actually, I don't even think it ever ended. Once they declared it ended, no one was essential anymore. In the event that you have to work in the snow, make sure you have a full gas tank. So especially if you get stuck in the snow, or you get stuck on a road or something, I have a story coming up. for your car, make sure you have a warm blanket, at least one. Make sure you have candy bars or granola bars or trail mix, something to snack on. Make sure you have bottled water. Make sure you have first aid kit. Make sure you have flashlights. All right? That is the event that, say, you do get stuck in the snow or you get stuck on the road. Like I said, I have a story coming up about this. For your house, take stock of your stuff before they even call for snow and make sure that you have enough food to say you were trapped inside for 3 days. In, I guess, places in the north, it could be a lot longer than that. But here, it's about 3 days. And what my daughter calls French toast kits. Make sure you have bread, milk, eggs. I mean, if you're vegan, of course, that's not what you're going to go for. But for those that are not, yes, it's important to have the staples. Beans, rice, things like that. Things that keep, things that are easy to make. And just make sure you have enough food to see you for a couple of days. Now that we got the French toast kits out of the way and the car safety part out of the way, I'll tell you my snow story. Okay, so about 5 years ago, I worked for a large, very popular home improvement store. Not that one, it's the other one. And they called for bad snow. And I lived about 25 miles away from my house. I worked about 25 miles away from my house. And I had to take 3 highways to get there. Because I used to live in St. Louis. I would take 40 to 270 to 55 to go home. Now, it started snowing, like, really bad. Like, it was coming down in clumps. It wasn't even individual snowflakes, just clumps. And I was nice. I decided I was going to be the one. I stayed late. I had a 4-wheel drive. I wasn't worried about getting home or not. I think, as I said, I think I wound up working like a 12-hour shift that day because everybody, as soon as it started snowing, everybody has to go home because of the snow. And then everybody called in and said, yeah, I'm not coming in, it's because of the snow. I almost didn't get home because of the snow. So I stayed and it worked. Now, there probably is, I don't know how to do it, but as far as I know, there are no surface roads to get from Chesterfield, Missouri to St. Louis. I had to take the 3 highways. I get on 40, and 40 is a parking lot. Literally standstill. And you couldn't even go down the shoulder to get to the ramp because people had piled onto the shoulders trying to get on the highway that wasn't moving. So everything was just dead stopped. I mean, and we sat there dead stopped for 5 hours. I couldn't go back. I couldn't go off to the side. I couldn't go forward. We actually sat there so long that the heat from our cars melted the snow on the highway. Apparently there was a semi that overturned up ahead, took 5 hours clearing. I'm sitting there in my truck. I listened to an audiobook and played on my phone. I had a car charger, so I wasn't worried about that going out. Had a full tank of gas. I wasn't worried about that. But I had to pee. Twice. I love telling the story. I'm like, what do I do? We're not moving. I can't go anywhere on the highway because there's cars all around me. So I was raised partially rural, so I'm not afraid. It's illegal, but I'm not afraid to, in the event of an emergency, pull over, open the car door, and squat next to the car door. I'm not. I've done it before. I hope I don't get arrested for it now. What's statute of limitations on that? It's easier if you're wearing a skirt. So I was like, I gotta pee. And I looked around and I'm like, well, I'm not going anywhere. I can't get out of the truck because I'm surrounded by cars. So I'm thinking, I look over and I had a large soda glass. Poured the soda out, went in the glass. It was a little interesting to do, because I'm not a dude. It was a little interesting to go to the bathroom in the truck, in the cup. And then I was like, well, I don't want to sit here and smell this. So I rolled the window down, poured the cup out, rolled the window back up. Put the cup back in the... This is the funny thing is I didn't throw... Well, I'm not a litter bug. So I put the cup back in the cup holder. Remember not to drink that. I get there, and I'm sitting there, and I was like, well, damn. It's like an hour later. It's like, I've got to pee again. So I did it again. Went in the cup, rolled down the window, poured the cup out, put the cup back in the cup holder. And I just happened to look out my passenger side window and saw there was a porta potty right there. There was a construction site right next to the highway. Literally, there was just a ditch. It was like I was in a lane, there was a shoulder, had cars on it, and then there was a ditch, construction site. No, construction trailer and everything, porta potty. And I was like, holy shit. I could have, because we weren't going anywhere. We hadn't gone anywhere for hours. The traffic up ahead, I could see the traffic up ahead. It wasn't moving. I could have gotten out of the truck, walked over to the porta potty and used it. And I'm like, well, I'm going to go do it if I have to go again. So, but I was thinking to myself, what would have happened if I had decided to get out of the truck, walk over to the porta potty, and realized it was locked? Because sometimes construction crews will put a padlock on the porta potty when we're not working on the construction site. I was like, well, I was thinking to myself, well, shit, I would have been not seen from the highway if I just put the porta potty between me and the cars, and I would just drop trow and go right there. But I was like, what if other people had noticed me going to the porta potty? There would have been a line of us for the locked porta potty. I did eventually make it home safe after 5 hours of sitting there on the highway and doing nothing. It still took me another hour to get home. I didn't drive more than 20 miles an hour the entire way home. Found lots of cars stranded. Hopefully those people got home safe or someplace safe for the night. It wasn't necessarily cold. It was just a lot of snow really fast. My husband was worried about me the whole time. He was at home with the kids. That's why I said you should always make sure you have a full tank of gas if it's going to snow. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. We're going to talk about some protection spells. Protection spells is literally the first thing you should learn. But a lot of people are like, oh, bring on the love spells. No, protection spells. Start with protection. You got to protect yourself while you're doing your spell casting. You got to protect your energy. First thing you need to learn how to do, draw a magic circle. There's many ways you can do them. You can do them the way I do it. Well, usually what you do, you start at the east. You have to point your arm, right arm, point to the east, and you draw up the energy from the earth into your feet, into your body, and out your arm, and then you walk into a circle. You go clockwise, all right? And you envision a bubble of white light surrounding your person, your altar, your space where you're going to do your spell casting. And when you get done with your spell casting, you need to do the same thing again. With your right arm, you pull the power back into, you go clockwise this time. You pull the power back into your arm, back into your body, and back to the earth. And then you thank it. Thank it. Gratitude is huge in witchcraft. Huge. So, now that there's many other ways to do it. I've got one that you chant every time you get to one of the compass points, but I don't do that. I'm kind of a lazy witch. But I want to talk about a car protection spell. Now, there's a couple of, there's some miscellaneous protection stuff, but this is specifically for the car. It's real simple. You need a piece of paper, ink pen, crayons, markers, whatever you want to use. It's entirely up to you. And then you need amber essential oil. Amber's for protection. Take your piece of paper and you draw a circle on it and you write the word safe in the middle. And then you can do runes that mean safety. There is a rune that means safety. I can't describe it. It looks kind of like a trident. Looks like a dwarvish trident. It's hard to explain. But you can put the rune on there. You can draw other things that mean safe to you. And then you dot each corner with essential oil. And then you put it in your car. You can put it on your dash. Some says put it on your windshield or whatever. Down the windshield. Put it in your car, put it in the cup holder. And every time you get into your car, you touch that. And you say, safe. And then you envision a white light surrounding your car and surrounding you. All right? Every time you get in the car. Now, like I said, it's real simple. Real simple. All right, so the next thing is I want to talk about some miscellaneous protection spells, just random stuff. You can invoke the angels Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, and Uriel to protect you. Wearing pentagrams is protection. Carrying amber, because amber's protection. And you can also create your own prayer beads, and you can make them in a bracelet, or you can make them as a keychain for your car, and every time you touch the beads, you can say a safety affirmation. I don't have one handy right now. I should have put that in my notes. I did today's broadcast with notes, bullet points, instead of writing an actual script. I think it went a lot better this time go around. Anyway, thank you once again so much for listening. As always, blessed be.